On June 15, 1775, George Washington was chosen to lead the Continental Army. Congress selected Washington due to his impressive leadership skills in the British Army of Redcoats. George Washington did not receive pay for his work, but all his debts were paid off. He felt it was his only responsibility to serve his country that he had worked so hard to earn. 10 fun facts about George Washington. Number 1. Washington was the only president elected unanimously by Electoral College. Number 2. He was the only president inaugurated in 2 cities. Number 3. He was always short on cash and he never had any money in his pockets. Number 4. He established tradition of a cabinet of advisors. Number 5. He signed into law the first copyright law. Number 6. He set precedents for social life of the presidents to follow him. Number 7. He made the first Thanksgiving proclamation. Number 8. He vetoed only 2 bills during his entire presidency. Number 9. His second inaugural speech was the shortest ever delivered. And number 10. His farewell address has continued to have resonance over time. In 1776, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams were all granted the task of creating a formal statement of the colony's intentions. With Jefferson being the principal writer, Franklin and Adams helped formally explain to King George III that they were becoming independent. Not only did the Declaration of Independence benefit the colonies, but because they became independent, they inspired other countries, such as France, to become independent nations. The Articles of Confederation were adopted on November 15, 1777, by Congress in the temporary capital of York, Pennsylvania. The original purpose for the Articles of Confederation was to maintain loose control over all 13 colonies, so they would all be under one rule, but still made particular decisions themselves as separate states. However, less than 5 years later, colonists peacefully overthrew the new government due to the fact that the governing system was inadequate for the 13 colonies. France and America created an alliance on February 6, 1778, to make a strong military alliance against Great Britain. The Treaty of Alliance with France was signed by American diplomats Benjamin Franklin, Silas Pean, and Arthur Lee. The treaty signing began on September 27, 1782, when Benjamin Franklin engaged the British in a formal signing of a document. After 2 months of bargaining, the Americans got King George III to agree to America's independence, boundaries to be expanded, the refurbishing of destroyed homes, and the removal of British soldiers. Britain and America signed a treaty on November 30th, 1782 in Paris, but it wasn't until Britain and France signed a similar document when the treaty was activated on September 3rd, 1783. The 3 Americans present were Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and John Jay. The preliminary articles were the most important to the Americans, so they could guarantee fishing rights, restoration on properties, and the evacuation of British soldiers. The primary goal of the whole treaty was to gain America's independence, along with peace from both Britain and France. Richard Oswald was one of the British representatives at the signing. He wouldn't even stay long enough for a painting to be finished of the men at the signing. The Constitution was ratified on September 17, 1787 by delegates in Philadelphia. To ratify is to sign or give formal consent to a treaty, contract, or agreement, making it officially valid. With the Constitution, people gained more power by getting individual protection and freedoms, such as the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of the press. The only problem with giving power to the people is once they have power, they always want more. The authors of the ratification documents for the Constitution, or also known as the Federalist Papers, were Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. In total, these 3 men wrote 85 letters, always signing off with the name Publius. Publius was meant to show that the proposed system would save the Union and act in the nation's best interest. Letter number 84 was so important because it helped make the Constitution more acceptable among the colonists all throughout the 13 colonies. The Federalist Party emphasizes harmony with Britain, not only commercially but diplomatically as well. They also support having a very, very strong central government that is ruled by one dominating party.